Hi, I'm Alisa Starr.
And I'm Lydia the TwattaSaurus.
And this is Super Snarky. Okay, so we are best friends. And we've been best friends for a while. But we just got back together. We had a little bit of a break, like a year off of our best friendship.
So like a lesbian divorce.
Yes, because we're still best friends, but the sexual component in our relationship has died. I'm just kidding. There was never really a sexual component to our relationship.
I mean, now they've been talking about how much I get fucked.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about how much you get fucked. And also, like, lately, I like that there's, like, that you have, like, a hyperfixation on anal. Like, that makes me feel really good about all the conversations.
Well, all right, so here's the deal. When I was at the comedy club the other night, everybody keeps joking about eating ass, right?
Yes, because eating ass is everybody's new thing.
The new fucking thing.
It's the new blowjob. It's the new blowjob.
Right, but here's the deal. People are tired of listening to it already. You can see it. People are fucking tired. And every woman who walked up there to talk about eating ass fucking flopped. But no one went up there and talked about how using anal as leverage. Right? Like, nobody made any jokes about, like, how are you going to talk me into anal? You know? Like, well, if I happen to crash your brand new car, I think I might feel obliged.
I like how you're like, okay, these are the kinds of situations that can get you into anal. Like, these are the relationships.
I mean, aside from being 25 and drunk on gin,
right?
Because that's the one that always happens,
right?
Or that's how it happened for me.
I don't know. I've always wanted to do anal, like, my whole life. Like, ever since I started having sex, I always thought anal sounds really interesting to me. It's something you do with a boyfriend. And, you know, like, I just didn't have any guys who stuck around long enough for us to get to that. And admittedly, I never mentioned to any of the guys that I was dating that if we did end up in a long-term relationship, that anal was definitely on the table. So maybe that would have helped me get a little bit further in my relationships. But I always was like, I just want to fall in love so somebody can fuck me up the ass, you know? Like, that was my... And then, you know, of course, I just got impatient and drunk, and and it turns out that because I have a huge ass, anal, and actually, but like a much smaller asshole than a vagina, right? Like, so it turned, like, you know how I'm always talking about how my vagina is a never-ending tunnel, right? But it turns out...
It has wrong turns and cul-de-sacs.
Yeah, wrong turns, cul-de-sacs. Men can get lost in there. Like, you know, there's a whole bunch of, like, oh, honey, that's, you know, like, if you don't have 8 inches.
I wonder how the Survivor series of Alisa Starr's fucking vagina is going in there, you know?
We could have, like, Survivor.
I wonder if they're past the cage phase.
We could have a Survivor of men who've tried to enter the tunnel and just gotten lost. But it turns out my asshole much smaller, like a regular lady-sized vagina. I'm thinking, because the guys who go up there are like, oh, this is a good fit, you know, and they're just like average Joes, you know, that I didn't have to you know, when you don't pre-screen and you end up with candidates that don't quite fit the criteria. Anyway. So anyway,
I'm 4'9", so unless you're a chipmunk, you probably fit the criteria. 6 inches is behind my belly button.
If you don't have 8 inches, I don't know what you're doing, but I think it's adorable that you're trying anything at all. Okay, so let's go back to, so you're sitting there and you're like, well, this is my problem about eating ass, because you're right, I've heard everybody's been talking about it. All the comedians are like doing like little bits about eating ass, and my thing is that the longer you talk about eating ass, the more in my head it becomes that Keenan and Peel and
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it becomes that skit those guys did about I want to say caterpillar, but it's not a caterpillar. What is it? Where they were like ass to face, they were sewn together. Ass to face, ass to face, ass to face.
Yeah.
That whole series about how, like, you know, like, it just sounds like a weird, gross, like, poop eating train to me. The longer you talk about eating ass, the more I'm like, it just gets grosser. And
I mean, but I appreciate the fucking bravery and, like, the astute mathematics of it.
Mathematics?
Mathematics. And I'm not even particularly good at math.
Okay, so what kind of eating ass math are you talking about?
It's not just the eating of the ass. It's the ass in general math. This is ass math.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And the only other math I know is drug dealer math, so, you know, I'm happy about this. This was like a qualifier.
Okay.
Was essentially it's running your odds. You get to know understanding chance and what your odds of failure and success are. Because if nothing is going to imprint upon you the importance of odds, it could be like some of the stories I've heard from, you know, the girls.
What did the girls say about eating ass?
Oh, well, I mean, it's been everything from, like, you know, well, my lover and I keep a towel beside the bed because, you know, shit happens.
Oh!
To, like, screeching queens fucking, like, coming in my house like a raptor being like, there was shit everywhere! Right? And that was, that stuck with me. You know? Like, I never wanted to be the shit everywhere story for somebody.
Yeah.
And what's worse is, like, I've definitely had a decent amount of anal sex now, and it's all been successful.
Yeah.
So, in my mind, it's a lot like the traffic safety corridor on Highway 2, where that sign's flashing at you, and it's all like, 28 days since last car incident. And you're all like, wait a minute. How long do I have then? This is like... I mean, it would be a lot better if it had only been 2 days, right? Because what are the chances? I know odds, right? The odds are higher the longer it goes without happening.
That's true.
So I figure in my head that anal sex is definitely a fucking game of odds. And one of these times, your failure rate's coming for you.
Well, how could anal sex really ever go wrong, though? I mean...
They shit all over my bed!
Oh.
That type of wrong. Who wants to be that story?
Oh, like somebody sticks it in and then poop explodes? Like that?
Yeah, or some, like, I didn't want to investigate, right? Like, I don't want to know. But, like... I
mean, yeah, you do, like, there's...
I mean, the towel poop, like, that's a minuscule fail, right? Like, you don't even have to look at your dick to clean it off. You can right? But the shit all over the bed, like, how the fuck are you gonna, like... gracefully do that.
Yeah.
How do you change your sheets and then, like, you know, make your room smell better?
Yeah. And how do you look at the bed and think, I have poop sex now?
Yeah. I mean...
That was one of my favorite stories that Joy ever told about how she passive-aggressively got back at an abusive boyfriend. I told you about that, right?
She pooped on his bed?
No.
Oh.
She used
I was going to say, that's not passive at all.
She used to tell him, and this is the weirdest part about the story, is that I think colloquially, Cleveland steamer meant something different to her than it has meant to anyone else in the world, because I have searched Cleveland steamer over and over and over again, and the kind of sex she was describing was maybe it's just an idea that Joy had. Maybe it's just like she got it into her brain. But anyway, every time he started to freak her out, he started to, like, his violence would escalate. She would start getting out all these like furniture catalogs, and she'd start, like, marking all the glass coffee tables that look sturdy enough for them to have Cleveland steamer sex, which is, I guess, like, somebody poops on top of the glass and then somebody's lying underneath the glass and jacking off to it, or something. Some kind of sexual act that includes a lot of looking at poo. and was
she getting paid for this?
No. She just did it to scare the crap out of this dude so he would stop being a dick to her. Because she was like, we're going to have to start doing this shit now in order to sexually please me or whatever. Right? And she'd be leaving these catalogs around the house with all these, like, glass tables, like, circled. And he, you know, at first he was like, fine, I can handle it. It's fine. And then he was like, wait, who's doing the pooping? And who's not doing and who's doing the masturbating? And then the more she would fuck with these catalogs, the more nervous he would get that they were actually going to have to. It was sex chicken. And it seemed to knock him off his game long enough that she wasn't as afraid of him. Anyway, that was, but it just seems like you just don't want to bring poop into any situation it doesn't have to be in, for me. Sexually, you know, playfully, you know. It's ironic, because I do love a good poop your pants story, but I don't ever really want to actually deal with someone's poop. Super Snarky is brought to you by Snarky Cards. Snarky Cards are real fucking cards for your real fucking life. Laugh now at snarkycards.etsy.com. Here are some best-selling Snarky cards for your enjoyment. Dear Joy, holy shit, you're knocked up. I hope your baby's head is small and doesn't rip the shit out of your taint. Sincerely, Alisa. Dear Ari, if you were the last unicorn on Earth, I'd still fuck a horse. Sincerely, Margot. Dear Seth, stop drinking so I can fuck you later. Sincerely, Janae. Snarky cards are brutally honest greeting cards. Buy yours today at snarkycards.etsy.com.
Hold on, let's review this content for a moment. You know you're super drunk when you thought to name someone cum burps. Thank you.
Oh my god. So my sister and I used to torture our little brother's girlfriends. And there was one that we always called cum dumpster. Never forget it. That girl was so terrified of us, and she really should have been, because we were total bitches to her. To this day.
You know my cum dumpster story, right?
I feel like you've told me before, but I think
you remember Kelly. Ben's girlfriend. She made me the Cunnilingus Saves Lives sweatshirt.
Yeah.
At the same time that she did that, she also made herself a t-shirt, because she kept overhearing Matterson and Ben call her a cum dumpster.
Oh, geez.
And what she thought it meant was that she came a lot. And I'm like, I don't know how you got that out of there. They didn't call you a fountain.
Yeah.
They didn't call you a stream. You know.
They didn't call you like you know, cum shitter. Like she shits cum. Like they didn't. I mean,
yeah. No, yeah. I was like
cum train.
They called you a receptacle.
Yeah, and I think.
And they let her wear that shirt around them.
Oh, jeez.
For like a little bit, which that was the not funny part about that.
None of it's funny. They were being dicks to her, and she tried to make it nice.
Right, with like absolutely no idea. But you know what? I've fallen for things like that too, which is why I believe that every woman should download the Urban Dictionary app. For pet names especially, right?
Agreed.
Because there was a time I got called a strawberry, and in my head I was like, "Oh, strawberry, that sounds cool. Juicy, and like maybe it's about my ass." Yeah. And then I looked it up, and it actually means a girl that sucks dick for crack. So I was infinitely insulted because I'm a white person, which means I'm an elitist and only put cocaine up my nose.
Yeah. Hello. That is.
I mean.
That is such a negative.
Yeah.
That is such a beautiful word.
Right. It's such a fucking wonderful fruit to like have association with that. I was so upset.
Then again, I mean, there's kind of nothing wrong with sucking dick for crack. I mean, there's kind of nothing wrong with sucking dick for whatever the fuck you want, really, as far as I'm concerned. You know, if crack is your deal, then sure. But I kind of feel like...
I still want to unionize these girls with the idea. Don't suck dick for drugs, suck dick for cash, because you get more drugs with cash than you do for sucking dick.
And drugs are not the end-all, be-all. At the end of the day, after you have the drugs, you still need to live somewhere. So, yeah, I agree with you. We need to help these women who are strawberries in the world unite and realize that there is power in pussy. We've just been giving it away. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to any kind of dick sucking for profit. That's the one power we actually have, you know? We need to use it.
Whoring or wifing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. It's still...
I don't see that there's a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, it's security. It's long-term versus short-term thinking. So, okay, so what's
Well, I mean, I feel like in our generation, marriage is not so much a lot.
Okay. Alrighty, that's fine.
I mean, they predict the millennials will have, like, 3 different careers in their lifetime.
Only 3?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not a millennial, and I've already had 3.
So that leaves me to question, like, how many relationships or marriages we're apt to have. Our parents' generation were 3 strikes. Like, they were... Our parents' generation definitely did 3 marriages.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's about right. I feel like part of the reason why millennials get married either older or not at all is because they saw all those marriages too, and that's something that conservatives, when they talk about how millennials aren't getting married and how that leads to the destruction of the family or is a sign that things are going wrong in America, but they're discounting that millennials are the ones that had to grow up amongst those broken
a lot of
marriages.
People had 2 families on holidays, right?
Yeah, and so the goal in
like half sisters and half brothers and multiple extensions of family.
Yeah. And they also saw their parents try and fail at marriage over and over and over again, and they're like, maybe I just don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, and I see how it could have happened. Like, I was definitely in long-term relationships a bunch as a kid, too. I just didn't marry them. Like, I lived with them. We were, intertwined.
There's something about getting married and then ungetting married that seems to really, like...
Yeah, it seems like a lot of paperwork, and I fucking hate paperwork.
Well, but it's also, like, people feel like marriage is... a thing that they try at and they either succeed or fail. But the thing is that you can succeed for 10 years and then fail at year 11 and it's still a total, failure. And, like, that's a sucky proposition in general.
Right.
So there's that. Oh, and I did have one thing that I really wanted to talk about with another person that I've been putting off. Like, I don't want to do this podcast by myself, so I've been putting off. I've been wanting to. Okay. So, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you been hearing about all this post-birth abortion shit that everybody's been talking about on the news lately? No. Okay, because I've been, super, I'm obsessed with the news right now. I kind of just have been.
As soon as Title 10 was gagged, I had to take a respite.
Okay. Okay. I get it.
That could be my death right there.
What is Title 10?
Title 10 was the act allowing or barring economic discrimination against women for fucking healthcare.
Oh,
it's
Jesus
the thing that's
Christ.
going to require all Planned Parenthoods to be separated between their abortion services and the rest of their fucking services, including a separate entrance.
Jesus Christ.
It's the type of enactment that will make Plan B unavailable throughout the country starting very soon.
Oh, that's the reason we had to hard Plan B last year.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Because everyone
and I only have one in the cupboard right now, so, to keep any out of the oven, I need some Plan Bs in the cupboard.
Oh, okay. Is that your shout-out request for Plan Bs?
Yeah.
Well, I can
Anytime they're free, fucking get them.
Okay. All right.
One of my girls is trying to do it for me, too, because I was like, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
I don't want to die.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah.
People want to say that's overreacting, but whatever. They're not the ones that have to wake up from nightmares about a dystopian future where I am pregnant and there's no medical services, and that automatically means I'm just going to die. because there's no way I could vaginally deliver a child.
Yeah.
Because of, like, this sincere amount of surgeries and all sorts of shit that I've had.
Yeah, that's the thing that I wanted to talk about this whole issue, is that there are two things that you never hear, and, like, the Republican talking points. Okay, so first of all, I remember when that rule came down. I remember the week after, on Facebook, every woman I know was posting, she was like, get your Plan B, because the president of Planned Parenthood, I forget her name, but she's a badass, said, I want everyone right now, every woman who can, to hoard some Plan B so we have some, because it will be illegal to give it to you medically in the future because of this law. Hoard it now.
And some states will fight it for as long as they can. Like, Washington will end up becoming, like, a destination abortion state for a while. You know, we'll see how the next election goes.
Yeah. But the thing
they're setting a precedent for whoever to walk in to decide not to lift any of these horrific things. Like,
yeah, and it's getting very like to do Handmaid's Tale. We don't have a say over whether or not we have children if we get knocked up, right? So that's something.
And I think I've said this like a million times before, and I always make reference to the fact that women historically, like throughout anthropological history, on this fucking earth, made the most strides towards leaving violence and equality as soon as we gained reproductive right. Yeah. Like, it's a small little blippet in our entire fucking time on this earth.
Yeah, like, for 30 years we were allowed to not have children if we got knocked up.
Right. And all of the advancements that put women in educational situations, that put women in workforces, all of those things started to develop as soon as science got to the point where birth control was available. Yeah. And then it even progressed further than that once access to those medical facilities was made widely available.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So taking a step back from that means that
women's rights are linked to reproductive rights, like, on a base level.
Yeah, because, like, if you have a child,
and it's one of the first things that we do to substantiate third world countries.
Yeah.
When we fucking send, like, aid over to other countries and shit, one of the first things they fucking do is start instituting condoms and birth control.
Yeah.
And it gets women to fucking school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Because most women in some of these countries are being raised to be mothers. That's, like, their whole fucking point is children. Is as soon as they are no longer considered children, they're fucking mothers.
Yeah.
You know, that shit still happens, and I'm afraid that, like, someday, 50 years from now, all of these fucking bros are just gonna be sitting in men's clubs smoking cigars, being like, oh, Thomas, do you remember that time we let our women talk?
Yeah, we're going, like, I see how you're like...
It was so funny back then. They thought they had a chance.
I see how you're like, okay, we're going straight back there. But I think that we have too many male feminists, and I think that all of the shitty legislation we've seen like this is the last bastion of these old guard white guys who need to be in charge of every goddamn thing that isn't about them. And them just reaching out, clawing for power. This is their dying gasp. And I believe that as soon as Trump dies, retires, whatever he's going to do in order to successfully walk away without him and his kids going to jail, as soon as he does that, the AOCs and the you and me's and the rest of the country that has been angry and hurt over a lot of these policies, like all of the hardcore racist shit, it all just looks to me like last grasp at power before we go, because nobody's buying it anymore. Even mainstream media can see through a lot of this, that. I mean, 10 years ago, to think that the president of Planned Parenthood, or even when I was a kid, the president of Planned Parenthood could make an announcement via Twitter. I mean, obviously, there was no Twitter in 1995. But okay, think about it. She makes an announcement, and women all over America go out and start stockpiling birth control. Just that level of organization, cognizance, fighting back, having each other's backs, that alone made me feel like, okay, we are in a much better place to fight, to come back from this than we have been before. You know? Like, in 1985, I was like, if she did that, there would be a congressional hearing over whether she was allowed to communicate with that many people at once. Or whatever, right? In 1995, they would have been like, is it even legal for her to talk to children? You know? And you know, I didn't see anything in the mainstream media about her making that announcement, but I also didn't see anybody coming after her for making that announcement, you know? And I did see women stockpiling. So, like, that we're going to be okay. We're not straight to A Handmaid's Tale. I don't think it's going to go like that. I know I'm an eternal optimist.
I would challenge you then to keep that perspective by leaving our little bubble here. Like, we live in such a beautiful place, the West Coast.
Yeah. No, I know.
And then there is a whole land of fucking stupid between us and New York.
Yeah, I know. There's a whole land of us, like, of stupid between us and New York. And I know that... I know that I stay in my own little bubble, but I also know that...
I don't know that I can go with the Pollyanna. I'm going to hope you're fucking right. I'm going to hope.
Well, and
right?
I always Pollyanna. I know I always Pollyanna.
But my vagina is fucking, like,
I'm
moving on out.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you're thinking about leaving the U.S. because I also agree with you. This is our move towards... But we've been on so many other levels, like, starting with Flint. The United States has been becoming a third world country for the last 15 or 20 years. You know, like, we've been moving from first world status the whole time. This is just another indicator to me that that's where we're going.
Well, I think it's going to look more like Soviet Russia, though, for us, than it's going to look like, you know.
You know, we've always wanted to be Russia. Russia's always wanted to be us. Our relationship with them is very weird, and it's weird to me, like, that Putin and Trump kind of encapsulate that. Like, we think that they're blackmailing each other and having sex.
Thanks for listening to episode 1. I had a great time, and I thought we were funny.
We were hella funny!
Okay.
You might have heard some random casual cannabis consumption and stoner-related rustlings. Because we do like to smoke weed while we talk our shit, and our microphones kind of suck. So a little bit of money would help me and Lids get some better microphones and actually better weed if you're interested in supporting that. So if we cracked you up, give us a tip. Venmo me at Alisa Starr. ALISA STARR. The extra R is for extra rock!
So, hopefully we'll drop more vaginal science in your ears in episode 2.
Peace!